Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to How to Fight CPS with me, Bob. I have no idea why I keep separating from the screen. I still have a bug in my computer and it's been very tiresome. They've told me my computer is old, like I am. I'm a dinosaur. I can't work, but I will fix it. I will keep being patient. I'm on limited funds, so I can't go out and buy a new computer, which I need to. It's been already, 7 years, and things are changed. And Windows 11 is out, and I'm still on Windows 10, and I can't upgrade it there. But whatever it is causes my cursor to jump around and my letters to be spaced. So I apologize if it takes a moment for me to get on or whatever the case may be. But I'm working on it. And I also want to give a warm welcome to all of you very loving people that are fighting something called CPS. And it seems to be a bad word in everybody's mouth because, rightly so, most of the CPS that I've encountered has been bad, including my own case. I too was a victim of CPS, so I know it firsthand. Now, you just heard my attorney give a brief introduction about how ways he can help you. He is a very experienced lawyer. He is a professional lawyer. He's licensed and trained in juvenile law, family law, dependency law. Those three things go together to fight your case in CPS. Now, CPS, when you're fighting them, is hard. It is like open heart surgery. It's also, they are not transparent. They lie, they bring your cases up, and they abuse the system, all because they found a way of making $1 trillion. It's all about money. Now, I'm not saying all CPS is bad, and I don't want to revamp. I don't want to take it down. I just want to improve on it. It needs a lot of improvement, and I know firsthand from experience because I've been fighting for 15 years. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm a man that cares about other people. I have a lot of life skills in my 75 years on this earth that I can share with you to make your life a little bit easier. You know, life skills, and one of them is fighting CPS, are things that you don't get really taught anymore in school. It used to be included in all the curriculums, and I think it should be. I think it should be every year of your education should be having a life skill class. And it could start in preschool, and then prep-K, then kindergarten, and then grades 1 through 6. And then you go to middle school, it's grades 7 through, I take it back. Elementary school is now 1 through 5, and middle school is grades 6 through 8th grade. It used to be junior high, but it's no longer junior high, it's called middle school. And then we have high school grades 9 through 12, and then college is a 4-year typical program, maybe a master, another 2 years, and a PhD, another 2 years. That's 8 years. And if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you may do more. You may do more. But all the time you're in education, they should make it mandatory that we have life skills. And I wanted to help people with those. And one of the ones is CPS. That's what the attorney I work for, Vincent Davis, who is a champion on fighting CPS. I want to thank him very much for what he does to help other people. He does a lot of freebie work too. It's not just all about money. It's not about money. I know it's expensive. It's like anything. If you're going to do open heart surgery, you're going to have to get a doctor, and those doctors do cost money. Now, maybe your insurances, that's something I need to think about. There should be, if there's insurance for doctors and medical, why can't there be insurance for life tragedies, such as being involved in CPS? Why can't we have a premium where we could have insurance pay for the expenses of hiring an attorney to fight? There should be a legal insurance that you can buy. You have dog insurance, cat insurance stuff. I think there should be a legal insurance. That's something that, I don't know, I just thought about that. And it should be a legal insurance. And, there are legal programs and discounts that are given by lots of people, but it needs to be more along the lines of a doctor. So you people can fight a government entity. You have to understand the child protection system is a government entity. It is run through social services. Social services has a branch that deals with the protection of abuse and neglect of our children. That branch is a CPS, what I call a CPS system. Every state will have a different acronym or a name. I mean, every county. It starts in Washington, D.C. with the government. And then it portrays down to the state. And then the state, in turn, portrays it out to the county. It's the physical counties that run the program through social services. And social services should take a more active role in CPS instead of being a rogue and able to go free and do what it does. Because the way that CPS is structured is awful. And I've been fighting for 15 years. And as I told you, I'm not an attorney, but I've learned a lot of things through Mr. Davis and from you all, because you guys are like my family on here. You guys are like my family on here. And while I'm talking for a moment to people come in the room, because we already have some that shows me love. Oh, that's beautiful. I love emojis, and I love that. Jay Day. Oh, thank you, Jay Day. Jay Day was on my show yesterday. Really sweet person. Really sweet person. And it was a British mom. She's from the UK, from a place called Norfolk, England, in the United Kingdom. And she has a terrible case, and she was on yesterday. I am so fortunate, so blessed to meet all you lovely people. Not only people from the United States, but also from 20 different countries. I mean, we've had Bangladesh, India, 2 countries in the Middle East, 6 countries in Africa, 7 countries in Europe. Then across the pond in North America, we've had 4 provinces in Canada, all 50 states in the United States, including Washington, D.C., which is not a state. We've had Mexico and the Grenada in South America, and then across the pond, we've had New Zealand and 2 states in Australia, the Gold Coast and the state of Victoria, Melbourne area. And those countries in Africa have been really beautiful countries. I have 5 lovely ladies from South Africa, from the western provinces there in South Africa. Not only that, I have a gentleman who is a leader in Scouts. Scouts now has changed from Boy Scouts to just called Scouts. so that they can welcome not only the boys, but also welcome the girls and the transgenders out there. It's changed a lot since I was a Boy Scout, but the economy has changed. Life has changed. We do recognize the transgenders, and we do recognize the boys and the girls. So anyway, he's a wonderful man. Comes in and checks every so often and talks about how bad CPS is in his country, Liberia. Liberia is on the north coast of Africa, and it's a coastal country. And then in Central Africa, near Lake Victoria, is Rwanda, a nice country, but it had civil strife, civil war in 1994. And it wasn't about race. It wasn't about race. It wasn't about religion. I still to this day don't quite understand it. I've tried to study it, but they killed and murdered over 1 million people, and over 500,000 women were raped and abused and exposed to AIDS as they were trying to wipe out a society of people. I think it was about class of people. You have the working class, the farmers, you have the city workers, industrial workers. There was something about class in Rwanda. But I've learned a lot from people that have called in from there. And also Mozambique, which is on the coast opposite Madagascar, which is an island off Africa on the east side. So that was really, really great. And in the Middle East, I've had Saudi Arabia, which is a culture different from Africa. And then I've had a country, Libya, that is going through so much with the terrorist groups. See, the terrorist groups inhabit a lot of the world. There are terrorist groups everywhere, including the United States. We have a terrible program, a terrible society where we kill one another. We go to schools and wipe out people that are barely alive. But they've called in about their CPS cases. And then India is a very beautiful country, but it's rich and poor type society. It's a lot how the United States is starting to become rich and poor, no middle class. And then Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is rich and poor, and it's very starving people. But they called about how their children are being abused. So I'm open to everybody in the world to talk about CPS. Now, I call CPS the Child Protection System. But in your place, for instance, if you're in Arizona, it's called the Department of Children's Services. If you're in Richmond, Kentucky, it is called the Cabinet. And if you're even in California, 2 counties side by side. Orange County, it's the Child Protection Services. LA, it's the Department of Family and Children Services. So it's totally different. It really is. It is totally different. And so I really want to commend you when you find this room and you come into this room, right? Well, we're starting to build up with people, and soon they'll be talking. Now, I put a message up there on my screen. That's how you can text messages while in this room. There are 8 rooms, and that you find 7 on Facebook, 1 on YouTube. And they all channel in to CPS, meaning whatever room you choose to go to, your comments will be displayed in the room I'm in, which is I'm on YouTube. I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. The StreamYard application. That's what produces this program and the screens and the colors and stuff. I have a show producer. Her name is Grace. She works really hard behind the scenes. She has originally lost her father, but she has dealt with it and moved on, like all of us. We all have tragedies, and CPS is one of those tragedies in life. For 5 years, I had to deal with the false allegations. Lay people were calling in about our family. And for the next 3 years, they stole my children. They stole my children and put them into foster care. That's wrong. Trafficking is illegal, and CPS does it legally. I don't know how they get able to do it. It's wrong. And for the last 7 years, I've been fighting them. And one of them has been this podcast. Now, this podcast, I've gone live since October of 2023. It's over 15 months. It's over 15 months. And I've met over 900 people from around the world who have shared their stories, who've come back and become a part of my family and are regulars. And I really value these people. They're beautiful people. And Hammer of 1978, a YouTube from the YouTube, says, "Good afternoon, Bob." Welcome, Hammer. Good afternoon to you. Also, cannot forget Jay Day, who I just started the talk off. She says, "Good evening, England. I love to learn with your lessons, please." She is a British mom. "I know I'm in England. Everything is different, but I'm a wise person, can use what is handy in UK, that wisdom is never enough." And I agree with you, JD. JD, I met a couple days ago, and she's been a regular. She's part of the family. Hammer, I think you've been on before, but Hammer, could you tell me where you're from? For some of you that are noticing on my screen, it's very important that you give me your first name and the city or the county where your case was, the state, and if you're from another country, please provide your country so that I can know what country you're from. Also, you may have a province or a state. Australia has their states. Canada has its provinces. South Africa has provinces. I know that England has regions, but anyway, I'd like to know a little bit more about your country there. And then finish off with what about is your case. Try to be as complete about your case as you can here. Now, JD did sign something, but it's missing. I don't know what happened to your message, JD from England. It shows it there, but no message. Now, we have NYP. Hello, they say. Well, NYP is not New York. It's California City in California. And welcome again, NYP. I'm so glad to see you. And Hammer says they do it because not one person actually treats it like kidnapping. If they did, CPS would not take your kids since they would be physical alterations. Well, see, the problem about taking kids, you see, the Child Protection Agency is an agency that's supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. But it's further. If it has to take children to break up the family, they're supposed to do family reunification. And they only can take children that are in danger. It seems lately the CPS message is they want the clock ticking because they want that $20,000 per child coming into their county. They need the money to pay out bonuses and incentives to the workers who aren't qualified, by the way. The workers are not qualified. Some don't even have a high school education. Most of them don't have any mentoring where they follow a caseworker for a period of time. And I think that period of time should be at least a year. It takes that long to learn something, or even longer. Now, NYPD says they're from Nursia and Kern County. I'm sorry. I thought you were from California City in California. I apologize. Nursia and Kern County. I'm just going to say Kern County. That's easy to remember. And Hammer is from Ripley County. And Ripley County in what state? Hammer, what state are you from? Or country you're from, Ripley? And JD says, I feel honest, open, helpful people very quickly because I know in my soul where people are honest and helpful. All of you come to this room for a reason. Your children have been stolen. They've been kidnapped by a bad agency. I'm sorry to tell you that, but I've only met 4 people that are social workers in CPS. One of them is a regulars room. That's Betty from Montana. And she's a foster mom. And she does not do what other foster parents do. She's a good person. And I met a really great social worker who's a clinical psychiatrist, had a degree, and works in Maryland. And she had 6 months of training, she said, with the Maryland CPS there. And then there was two other ladies. One was a third-party worker that helps out CPS from Indiana, and another worker was a foster parent from Illinois. So I welcome all the people from around the world in here, whether if you're a policeman, a judge, a social worker, you're welcome to come in this room and express your concerns or how you're supposed to be helping things. Now, NYP has a question from Kern County. So I'd love to hear your question. JD says, I send love, heart with support. I know you did. I saw the heart this morning. I appreciate that. Hammer says, revandication. Hammer, I know you tell me from your county, but I need to know what country or state you're from. NYPD, here's the question. Does the judge order the voluntary case? And if so, when do they order it usually? Okay, for all of you that start out in CPS, rule number 3 is don't open your door. Also in rule number 3, do not let anybody in your home. Do not give permission to CPS workers or police to enter your home, because that's where the trouble starts. You need to be represented by an attorney, because you're dealing with people that are very deceiving and dishonest. And I'm sorry to tell you that not everybody in government is honest. And I'm not saying everybody's deceiving, but there are a lot of deceiving. I find that the IRS, the Department of Motor Vehicles, and the Child Protection Agency are 3 of the worst bureaucratic governments. I also think the Bureau of Indian Affairs is just as bad, because I'm very close and partial to the Native American Indians, the first Indians in our country. Also to the First Nation people in Canada. That's what they call their Indians. They're Native American Indians and First Nation people, Indians. And in the United States, they were the first immigrants long before the Europeans, long before the Vikings. And then we had the Vikings, who were the explorers. They weren't really trying to conquer or take over a place. They were exploring for goods they can bring back home. They were a different kind of lifestyle, just like the American Indians are. But these CPS workers that we have can be so vindictive and so deceiving. They do retaliation. I know from first-hand experience. My social worker committed perjury and is open to a lawsuit. But she retaliated and had my daughter emancipate from us parents, changed her name, sealed her birth certificate, got a new birth certificate, got a new Social Security card, double dipped Social Security for money, and then got adopted by a foster care parent. And she's 22 now. This all happened when she was 12. That was a retaliation. That's the thing I got to live with in my heart, of not seeing my daughter grow up from age 12 to age 22. Yes, I'm a family man, and I have 6 children that I've helped raise. The oldest is a boy in his 40s. My 2 girls in their 30s. One was my firstborn that I've not seen since the age of 3. And then my 3 younger children that I've had with my current wife. And those are the 3 children impacted by CPS. They're the ones that were stolen and put into foster care. And one of them, my daughter, my youngest girl, was stolen from us parents. And that was all because of my wife's parents, who called in as a layperson and complained that we weren't taking care of our kids. and we proved them wrong for 5 years. But CPS couldn't take it any longer, and they got a hold of the police. And they forced their way into my home and made up stories that are ridiculous. And they took my children who weren't in danger. They're in school. They did put them in danger in foster care. They did a hell of a lot of damage to my children. My children were abused by 3 young ones. And one was kidnapped and stolen by the child protection system. So I'm very angry against the child protection system. I lost my home because of the child protection system. I had to do a quick sell to hire an attorney. My attorney is Vincent W. Davis, who got 2 of my children back, my boys. But I had to send my money. And then my credit has been ruined. All by CPS. Because when they do a background check, they see your involvement in CPS. And it hurts you. I know it hurts everybody in this room. I know it does. So you should first start out when you say no to them coming in your home and no to them. You need to have an attorney present. You should ask for a settlement conference. Not too many people do that or know about it. In Michigan, they have a settlement conference before it goes to trial, before it goes to court. A settlement conference is used in divorces. It's a brilliant way because you don't want to end a marriage unless it's impossible. A settlement conference is where the people come together, adult people come together and work out the problem and work out a plan to rectify the problem. So when CPS gets involved, they don't need to take the children right away. Now, if the children are being physical, beaten up, or hurt, or exposed to something that is hurting them, yes, they need to be taken into protective custody. But lately, CPS's standard operation procedures, the SOP, is to take a child when they think the story that they hear from the professional or the layperson is true. You see, when people call in, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And a lot of the lay people use the CPS for their own means. They retaliate against a neighbor. They retaliate against a family member. They retaliate against their spouse. That is wrong. And they got to stop this anonymous thing. When someone wants to complain about something, they need to put it in writing. And they need to sign their name with a phone number they can be reached at. Now, they can keep it in confidence until the investigation's done. But if they find out that the investigation was false, then that person is open to a lawsuit. Because that's wrong to detrimental people, to defame people. That's against the law. It's against the law to alienation. But the CPS system does, the child protection system does. They alienate and they traffic. Both things are illegal. But they get away with it. They get away with it. So you should try for a settlement conference where you sit at a table and hopefully you have an attorney there that will help you. One of the first things you do when you're aware of a CPS case is call around. You need to make 3 phone calls. And what you can do is you use the internet. You find so much information now. You are the AI. You don't need to have an artificial intelligence do the work for you. You put in a question and they work behind the scenes, finding you the answer. It's very important you put the city followed by the state. It's very important how you word your question. And if the city is small, like Athens, Georgia, you may have to put Athens, Atlanta, Georgia. Then right after those, you put the letters CPS. Everybody knows what CPS stands for. And after that, you'll see lots of things pop up. If you want to clarify your search in CPS, after the CPS, you put in what you're looking for. This is my rule number 4. Use the internet. Browse it. And it makes no difference what browser you use, just one that you like. Just one that you like. Now, I use Google because it helps you find a way. Maybe other browsers, the arrangements of the question may be different. But spend at least 60 hours learning all about your case. So you're looking for an attorney. So you type in a CPS, juvenile law, family law, dependency law, attorney. So you put the city, the state, the words CPS, attorneys, and you see a whole list of them. And you scan through them, and you want to find which ones say that they fight CPS, because you want a fighter. You don't want a court-appointed attorney. You don't want an attorney that is a public defender, because they will not fight for you. They're case-loaded, 30 or more clients, and they only are trained in criminal law, not in juvenile family dependency law. They're not schooled in that. So they don't have the background. And when they do fight your case, they're not going to fight it because they don't have time to fight it. And they're controlled by the people that hire them, which is CPS hires attorneys. Judges are elected. And we as a people, every 4 years, got to find a judge that has a background in juvenile family dependency law. My judge did not have that kind of background. In fact, most judges are picked sort of randomly. And it's wrong. That's a serious position that needs to be fulfilled. So this past year we had elections. And I hope you all picked a judge. And you should pick a judge with a background in juvenile family dependency law. And someone who has, worked with CPS. Because the child protection system is corrupt. It has become rogue. I'm not saying all of it is, but they're far and few. There's over 600 people, there's over 900 people that can tell you that. 900 people that can tell you that. That's how many people I've talked to. And those 4 social workers. So hopefully that answers your question, NYP. And I'm sorry for most of you if I've gone there and did a little talking. And NYP says the city is California City. It's Kern County. Okay. All right. So I was right about that. Now, J-Day from England says, in England, children been removed from the hospital with police forced because the parents go against the vaccination. They're using money from children trafficking and supporting the LGBT agenda. I don't think the agenda of the LGBT is to do that. I really think that there are people with alternative lifestyles. They don't need to make a big deal about it. They just need to be quiet about it. We should accept people, all people like me. I accept everybody, whoever comes to this room. The only thing I ask is that they are here about CPS, the child protection system. That's the only thing I ask. I agree with you on the vaccination. Just because you don't want a vaccination, but it's the way you have to word it. Right now, the hospitals and urgent care have been inundated with social workers from CPS, and they hear something and they know that parents don't know the laws. They can't take your children in the hospital because you didn't want to get them vaccinated. All you simply tell the hospital is that, yes, you're going to look into that vaccination, but you're going to talk to your pediatrician. All of you should have a pediatrician for your child. So anything that CPS wants or anything else, you deal it through your pediatrician. Don't let them take control. Don't let CPS use their own doctors, their own people. Tell CPS to get lost in a nice way. Tell CPS that you can't talk to them unless your attorney is present. If you can't afford an attorney, make the court-appointed or public defender work. Kick them in the seat of the pants. They have a job to do. If they don't do the job, then you can fire them and get them replaced. If that doesn't help, you can tell them that you will do a civil suit for negligence. And on top of that, you report them to the bar. You report them to the attorney bar, and they'll have a black mark on their record, which hurts them getting other work. So I'm telling you, you got to know these things. These are things I've learned from experience. You can call the bar, and you can file a written complaint against that attorney, and they will investigate it. Also, you can do a lawsuit against negligence. But again, that takes an attorney. And I know expenses are hard. It's hard with CPS. It's like buying a home. You got to invest money. When you buy a home, you have to put a percent down, and then you have to navigate the points, the costs of the property, but you're going to get an inspector to inspect the property, to tell you what's wrong with the property. You're going to try to get always 3 quotes on anything. Anytime you do anything, you want to get 3 quotes. That's why I said you need to call an attorney and get 3 quotes. I already told you how to look them up, but when you make the calls, the first question should be, are you a juvenile family dependency lawyer who has won cases against CPS and got children back? If the law firm says yes, or the attorney you talk to says yes, then your second question is, have you ever, after you close the CPS case, done a lawsuit against CPS and won money back? If the answer is yes, you got one of your 3 candidates. And I got one candidate right now that you don't even have to call. That's Vincent W. Davis. He's done both. All you have to do is talk to him about your retainer. And I have several ways you can talk about him. Several ways. Now, I put up another message on my room about how to be a guest on my podcast. I have room for 9 of you to talk on my podcast. And I'd love for you to be on there. All you have to do is follow the directions in that message there. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour, and on again at 7 p.m. Pacific Time for 1 hour. The only exceptions on Saturday, Sunday, I come on at 8 o'clock. So what you do is you just email Grace, my show producer, and you send her that I want to be Bob's Sunday show, his Saturday show, his morning show on Sunday, his morning show on Saturday, or his evening show on Wednesday. That's all you do, and she takes care of the rest. She'll send you a link, and that way you can be on my podcast. She'll send you a link to StreamYard, and she'll explain to you what you can do and not do. So just email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Now, I got my phone number up because I think it's important that you know that you can also call. Besides being a guest, you can call in to a live number. I use Vonage, which is an internet application for phone. So if you're familiar with Vonage, I use Vonage. And my number is 626-698-0990. 0990. I forgot to put the number up. There's the number. Oh, I'm not doing too well sometimes. Now, I need to catch up with my text messages, and I'm sorry if I'm not answering them as quick as time because I have to balance what I need to talk about. I do that. There's a lot of information you guys are sharing, and I appreciate the information you guys helping out. Now, I was talking about the comment that Jan J.D. made from England, and she was talking about the children trafficking in the hospitals. So I hope I help you out there. You do not have to do what the hospital advises you to do. Now, if your child's on life or death, meaning that they're on life support, you have to do what the hospital recommends to do. I'm talking about things that can be done at a later time. That doesn't mean you're guilty of anything. And CPS uses that to traffic. My rule number 3, I do talk about medical trafficking. And medical trafficking is when you come into an urgent care or emergency room and suddenly this caseworker who works for CPS shows up and starts interpreting things the doctor may say. Or you're going to have a baby and they test you positive. You know, if they do test you positive for drugs, you can't breastfeed. That's not nice to the baby. Also, you got to wait at least 30 days for the drugs to get out of the baby's system and to be tested again. Now, there could also be a false reading. So the child is not taken from the mother. They'll have to be bodily fed. And the child should still be with the parents, but the mother needs to be instructed if the positives is true, and she should get her own doctor to do a drug test to confirm what the hospital has found. She should get her own doctor to do the drug test. You guys got to be careful in the medical world. It's real tricky out there, and a lot of mistakes are being made. Now, I know Europe has a really nice medical system where it's not so expensive. I don't know the pros and cons enough to talk about the medical system in Europe as opposed to the United States or in Canada or in South Africa or New Zealand or Australia or any other country there. Okay, Hammer says read the previous. I think I've caught up on that, Hammer, but thank you. J-Day, I'm at 10:32. I know right now it's 10:52, so I'm behind. I talk too much sometimes. I need to catch up. J.D. in England are killing children, making excuses. Better for this parents. This is shocking. In England, doctors killed the Down syndrome child and said it's better for family. This shocked me. Hospital systems get paid to kill people. I don't know if it's true. Okay, I've heard rumors about that. And having people body gore evil reasons, the Freemason agenda. Okay, JD, we got to keep it strictly to the facts. We got to keep it to the facts. Now, NYPD, okay, my case has been going on since July, and the CPS sends threatening letters saying it's court ordered. It's not the judge. Says she's leaving it up to CPS. Well, then that judge needs to be fired. It is court ordered. The judge makes the final ruling. The judge makes the decision, not CPS. I'm sorry, JD, about my story. I live it every day when I talk about it. JD says I can't handle pain abuse anymore. It's so cruelty and so evil. I understand that. In England, a boy ran away from the foster care. He said, if I no jump out from the window, foster care women nearly killed him. This is the boy story. He shared his experience with foster care devils. There are bad stories, and normally the bad stories are more heard than the good stories. Now, NYP from California says, my case is child abuse, neglect, child endangerment. I'm refinancing right now to get up money. I hired an attorney, but he's new. He doesn't say anything in court. His first said motion to get. Well, I hope you don't get a new attorney to try to fight CPSs. You need experienced law attorney, one that has a proven track record of fighting CPS, not only getting the children back, but doing lawsuits. You need a pit bull of attorney. I want to emphasize that, a pit bull of attorney. Okay, NYP in California says, kids back. I took my baby to ER to find out that he had 11 fractures. I think you told me this once before. Nothing happened to my baby. He was a preemie, only home 1 week and 5 days. His bones were healing status, they said. Oh boy, I hear that all the time. Yep, judges can be corrupt. Not all judges are, but we're in here because we all have something in common. We experienced a bad judge, a bad social worker, a bad CPS, a bad attorney. We're here because of that. We have that in common. NYP, I really need help. I pay this man and nothing has happened from him on the 10th last court date. My babies are 1 year old and 10. What you need to do is you need to have a great talk with that attorney. You need to tell him if he does not perform, that you will sue him for negligence and report him to the Bar Association. You report him to the Bar Association that he's a crooked attorney. You need to be upfront with attorneys. If you pay them money and you don't feel comfortable, that's another thing. When you get your 3 quotes, you got to determine which attorney you make chemistry with. It's so important. And when you hire a new attorney, I wouldn't do it. I'd get someone with at least 10 years of experience of fighting CPS. 10 years. My attorney has 39 years. I already have 15 years of fighting CPS. I've been fighting CPS since 2010. And now it's 2025. That's 15 years. First 5 years, we're fighting lies on reporting things that weren't true. 3 years is when my children were trafficking and alienated from their parents for 3 years. And one of them was forced to emancipate from her parents. And then 7 years has been fighting them like these talk shows to help out other people. So you need to be careful with attorneys you hire, okay? No matter how much money you pay them, they could be crooked or bad. They're bad attorneys, they're bad judges, they're bad social workers, there are bad people everywhere. You got to filter through them. That's why simple rules to follow. Don't open the door. Don't talk to social workers. Don't talk to the police. Don't let the police in. It's like when you get pulled over for a traffic violation, keep your hands on the wheels. Look at the officer directly in the eye that you're sincere. But don't give them information. It's yes, no answers. Because if you're not guilty, you don't want him using something he'll say in court. And then you just sign it. And sign it does not mean your guilt. That's the promise to appear in court to talk to the judge about it. Same thing goes with arrest. You're allowed 1 phone call, and that should be to your attorney to help you bail you out of your situation. Do not discuss things with the police officer. They're going to want to interrogate you. You don't want to give them any information. Because if you know you're not guilty, it's best not to talk to them. Make sure you have a lawyer present. You got to have an attorney present. So whether it's a traffic violation, arrest, or an accusation by CPS. Now, when CPS accuse you, it's called an accusation. They don't write tickets. They don't arrest you. Now, if you are battering a child, the police will arrest you for battering. That's against the law to beat somebody up. So they will arrest you. But CPS cannot make arrests. The reason why the police are with the CPS workers is for their safety and also for intimidation. There are two reasons: for safety, intimidations. Jay said, today, Jay from England, today I called about 8 to 9 solicitor lawyers, and they all rejected the case taken against the Children's Services. I did not know why, because you're corrupt and you get funded by the government. Well, it's true, but there are, in Norfolk, England, I don't know what town is Norfolk, but maybe you have to put in the word London, comma, by your town in Norfolk. You do it London, comma, Norfolk, England, or not England, England. And you write in CPS, and you write in the words, the Juvenile Family Dependency Law lawyers. You call them solicitors, okay. Those solicitors, or whatever the term is in England. That's how you're going to find them. NY from California. Is it true after 6 months they're adopted out? No. There are prescribed timelines, but they vary from place to place, from county to county, state to state, and country to country. I cannot say general speaking. I've heard of 12 months, a year before they think about adoption. Because family reunification takes a year sometimes. Because some of the programs you have to go on, like domestic violence, is 1 year, it's 52 weeks. Alcohol treatment is 1 year. Drug treatment's 1 year. So maybe after 1 year, but if they see you're going well in the program, they won't do adoption. You got to keep fighting them that you don't want your child adopted. Now, JD says, when they are related pedophiles, and okay, I don't always assume that everybody is a pedophile. And I don't think LGBT should be labeled as that. That's a difference of religion or preference. Because our children, even going children from father and mother and giving to LBG, apparently we have a differences with the LBG people. Now, I have nothing negative to say about them. I call it alternative lifestyle. But I don't want to get into politics of that, because I know you're a very sincere mom from the United Kingdom. So that is your beliefs. I respect your beliefs. Yes, they're taking twins from mother. She gave birth, and babies removed because mom says her opinion about vaccination and doctors. Again, you can go to the pediatrician to talk about vaccinations. Don't give opinions to medical people. Do not talk to case workers in the hospital or urgent care. The only person you should talk to is the doctor and his assistant, which is usually a nurse. You don't talk to anybody else there. I don't care if case managers want to talk about your insurance or anything else. You say you need to have your attorney present. Doctors call children's services and babies removed by foster care. Can you imagine mother gave birth and a couple hours later, I've seen it. I've heard from stories here where the mother was still attached to the baby. In walks the policeman, the social worker, and they grab the baby. They grab the baby before the umbilical cord is cut. That's gross. First of all, social workers and policemen don't belong in the birthing room. If that person is a criminal and they're just expect to have babies, the policeman waits outside the room. And the social worker has to wait in the lobby. They have to have a warrant to take a child from the mother like that. That's wrong. Babies don't see them for more than 2 years. This Wednesday in London, family court, where they're trying to adopt these babies. Creepy man, this is shocking. This is fact. I believe you. I'm not doubting you, J-Day. I know you're not against people. You're against evil. There is evil in all walks of life. Whether you're straight or gay, whether you're LBGT, whether you're a policeman, whether you're a social worker, wherever you are, there's evil in every one of us. And my faith in God, you got to have a strong faith in God. He is the supreme being that I believe in. He's the one that I pray to. I pray for all of you guys that I can have a magic wand to make it so it's better for you to get your families back. It's been proven that the best parents are the biological parents. The biological parents are the best parents to raise parents. Now, JD in England at the moment, pedophiles, let's not talk about pedophiles, okay? They're bad. They're evil. People that use children for their sexual gratification are evil people. I don't believe in pedophiles. We don't need to talk about them because I know that they're out there. I know about social workers that are pedophiles that work in CPS. There's a story of a 13-year-old girl that supposedly was injured by her brother. And the CPS worker was a male and wanted to take pictures of this 13-year-old girl. So he went to school and asked the school for permission to take that child alone and take pictures. Now, we don't know if he's a pedophile or he's taking pictures for sexual gratification, but it's very disturbing. Anytime you take a picture of a child, you need to have two people present. The same thing in Boy Scouts, two people present with children. Same thing in YMCA or anything else. It's called the two-person because you can be called abusing that child, so you want it for your own safety. Now, Philistine Gibson is from Canada. Welcome. I'm telling you right now that they have me and my children on a kill list, ages 20, 25, 20. The hospital trying to kill my son, age 1,314, walking to Bible study. They drove him over, broke his leg. All right. You're going to have to go, Philistine, to seek help. You need to go to a police chief. You need to go to a mayor, or you need to go to the governor, or you need to go to the president of the United States. If you have facts and can support that, you need to go to the Capitol before Congress and explain to what you have. We got about 2 minutes left. I'm trying to catch up here. Jay says from England, yes, it is. I got a lady who gave me the true facts about the hospital, and she left the hospital in the county because the hospital is a dark place. There are many hospitals. There are good and bad hospitals. You as a parent got to be responsible to tell the difference. Now, NYPC, that's what I figured. Judge makes the final order. That's right. The judge is the person that makes the final order. There are recommendations that CPS will give, but the judge makes the decision. Jay, what is the difference from public law and law society? Well, that's a hard question, and right now I don't have the time to tell you the difference. I would Google that up to see what Google says, but you're talking about society, and you're talking about public, and you're talking about law. Now, I think when you mean by public law is what governs our public people. Society maybe be a group of individuals, the rich and the famous, or the poor and unfamous. A gang laws or something like that. I don't know what you mean by the word society and public. There are laws written to help protect our people. In the United States, there's the Constitution of the United States. You should read it from top to bottom. There's also amendments to the Constitution. Number 4 is something you should look at. Number 1, number 2. There are important amendments to the Constitution. And you should look at the Constitution that was first written by others. And even today, that Constitution's been tried. We did a horrible thing to try to get a president impeached. That was a horrible thing. Not only once, but 3 times. Then they tried to shoot him. How many times? 5 or 6 times. They've shot our president-elect. So I know about what society's doing and stuff, but we don't need to jump over there to make that decision there. Now, I'm getting short of my time here, and Phil says, hey, Bob, I'm sure there is, but what is the time limit on when you have to report misconduct or file a civil suit? The time limit is when you suspect something, you report it right away. Do not wait. If you think that public defender attorney's bad, then report it. And you report it many, many different ways. You can report it to their boss. You can report it to, there is a attorney office. And you can report it to the Bar Association to put a complaint. You can report judges at the state level. And you can report it at the federal level. There's federal level, state level. You know, everyone in the United States takes U.S. Constitution, and that is required. To be a citizen of the United States, you take Constitution. They've somehow let people come in that don't take it. That's where you learn about the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary branches. You also learn state constitution. You need to know your state constitution. It's different. State laws and federal laws are different. Like you cannot smoke marijuana on federal property, but you can smoke marijuana in some states' properties. So you got to be careful. There's always talks about having more states, like California wants to have a north state and a south state. Or Trump now is proposing that Canada become a state. These are interesting discussions to talk about. It doesn't mean they're true. It doesn't mean you're true. A lot of it's entertaining. You as a person who's gone to school, you should know right from wrong. You should know what is true. And if you have a college degree, you should know what is right or wrong. And right now, I'm telling you, you got to treat CPS with caution. I always tell people fighting CPS is like you're Alice in Wonderland. You fell in the rabbit hole. You met the Cheshire cat who sends you to room and crazy things. Like one room said, off with your head. So fighting CPS is hard. As I said, it's like doing open heart surgery. That's why you need an officer of the court to defend you. You need a real attorney. Now, Phil says, I paid 2 lawyers that took my money, did nothing, and I ended up firing them for cause. They kept my money. Well, you could have sued them for negligence. I know it's tough time to sue. I wanted to sue my social worker for committing perjury. I had a solid case. I had an attorney, but they wanted a $50,000 retainer. And I just sold my home for a retainer for my attorney to get my kids back. That's wrong. You can fight somebody with a lawsuit and they get a percentage. They get like 30%. If your lawsuit's $100,000, they'll get $30,000 if they win their case. If it's $1 million, it's a lot more money. In England, Jay says, I call all over England, London, Norwich. Okay, London, Norwich. You're going to have to find that magical attorney. Phil says, the judge in my case ruled against me and gave my ex-wife full custody and 50-50 legal custody, but she has tie-breaking decision, which means nothing other than she has full custody, period. I never heard of a tie-breaking decision. I've heard of 50-50. I don't know what court or what state that was in, but I never heard of a tiebreaker going to the wife. I know. I've been through there. I have been through divorce. Yes, I have 41 years of marriage experiences. I've married twice. Unfortunately, I didn't want the first marriage to end. it was 10 years. My current marriage is 31 years. So it's 41 years. But I never heard of a tie goes the wife. But I'm running out of time here because it's already 11 o'clock. JD, they're not letting her going out from the hospital till she gets vaccination. That's the problem. They cannot stop you to get a vaccination. There's no law in any land that refuses a person. A person can walk out if they're over the age of 18. If they're a child, the parents can take the child. They need a court order to stop that parent. They need a court order to stop that parent. Right now, you can physically take your child. Now, if there's security or something and they want to jump in, then sometimes you have to eat crow. But I'm telling you, if you decide not to get a vaccination, all you have to do is tell the hospital, I want my pediatrician to do the vaccination. I want a second opinion. You're entitled to a second medical opinion. In fact, you're entitled to a third medical opinion. If there's a procedure you don't feel comfortable about or medication you're going to take, you're entitled to it. You can research the internet. That's your big opinion. You can research the internet. The research the internet will answer all your guys' questions. Go to the internet. Phil says this is LA County. Okay, Phil, I thought you're a Philistine, so you're from LA County, California, Dependency Court. Department of Children and Family Services. That's the CPS system there. I know it quite well, and that's bad. Now, this is the final comment I'm taking. It's now 11:16. Tessa, you came in an hour late. Where were you, girl? Anyway, welcome, Tessa, but I do have to go. I'll be on again tonight, all of you, at 7 p.m. California time. That's Pacific Standard Time. I want to see all of you that have questions. I want to thank Tessa from California for coming in. And I want to thank Phil from LA County. I want to thank JD from Norwich, England. I want to thank, let's see who else we have. I want to thank NYP from California. I want to thank Philistine Gibson from Canada. I think it was Ontario or Quebec, Canada. I want to thank, I'm going through all the comments now. I got my cursor to work. I want to thank Hammer. From, I never knew what state he was from. He was from some county that I never heard of. Let me see if I can find that county there. Ripley County. I have no idea where Ripley County is. It could be Ripley County in Australia or in South Africa. But the next time you can tell me. So I've gone through the whole show, looked at everybody. God bless you all. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I hope when I tell you, you use it. But the most common, you have to use a thing called common sense. And do not judge a person unless you walked in their moccasins. Be very careful how you judge people. You do not know what they've gone through. Like each of you have your own story. I have my story. I share my story. And right now I'm struggling. There's a lot of things. By me talking to y'all, I'm sharing you my life skills of what I've learned. My 75 years. Now I have 60 years of life skill. I think the first 15 years, I do have some life skills, but I was a teenager and I started working at age 15. And I've worked 60 years. And right now I'm looking for a new job. I'm looking for a career job again because I'm faced with the fact I can no longer feed the family with the food. Food is skyrocketed. Gasoline is skyrocketed. I need a new computer. I can't afford it. I need brakes for my car. I can't afford it. The job I'm working at Bangladesh wages, and I'm lucky if I'm paid once a week. It's usually 2 or 3 weeks, and it's hard for me to pay my bills. But anyway, I want you all to not give up fighting for your kids. There is hope. Listen to my rules. There are numerous podcasts that go about the rules in detail, and things I've said. You can watch me on numerous times because I have a lot of shows. I've been talking now for a long time. So Vincent Davis will come on and talk a little bit more about how to fight CPS. This is Bob Pace sign off. I'll see you this.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.